Hello everyone! In the past 2 months, we've received a lot of information about several Fatui harbingers like Colombina, Capitano, Piero, Pantalone, Sandrone, and even Pulcinella. I haven't made a video about Pulcinella yet, but let me know in the comments if you're interested. And today, we have some new information about Dottore, including his age, personality, and trial voice lines. A huge shout out to Snezfed for being the source of this information. And as always, there may be some spoilers, so here's your spoiler warning. Before we begin, I'll be giving away 50 Welkin Moons when we hit 100k subscribers, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Now, according to Snezfed, there are many versions of Dottore or the Doctor, but his overall age range is from 20 to 45 years old. So far, we've seen 2 versions of him, the first one at Signora's funeral, and the second one we met during Sumeru's Archon quest. The version of Dottore we saw in the Winter Nights Lazzo trailer is a middle-aged man, around 45 years old, who is cold and rational. The second version, the one we encountered in Sumeru, is young, about 28 years old, and quite arrogant. The original Doctor, or Dottore, took pieces of himself from different age ranges and used them to create a number of clones. And now, the Doctor is a system composed of the original Dottore and these other clones, or whatever you want to call them. To distinguish between the original Dottore and his clones, we'll refer to the Dottore we met during the Sumeru storyline as the Young Doctor, while the original Dottore will be referred to as the Funeral Doctor. Dottore sometimes uses his clones to interact with the other harbingers, so it can be hard to say which one is the real Dottore. Let's first talk about the original Dottore, or the Funeral Doctor. He's about 45 years old, as I mentioned, and he's ranked number 2 among the Fatui harbingers. He's also part of the Radical faction. In terms of personality, he's extremely calm and level-headed, with very little variation in his speech. He often seems detached, minding his own business. He tends to use scientific or objective wording, almost like a robot. He doesn't lack emotions. Rather, he has precise control over them. However, when discussing an important topic, he may show some emotion with noticeable changes in his wording and tone. These changes are intentional and serve as bait. Moving on to his trial voice lines. His first voice line is, "What we call a human is nothing more than a machine of sufficient complexity." As expected, he delivers this in the tone of a researcher announcing their findings. His second voice line is, "There is room for optimization in every system." Has your proposed plan been thoroughly tested? Can you demonstrate that it will produce optimal results under the present conditions? He's calmly asking questions, discussing technological issues with someone. His words aren't rushed, but they're intimidating, as if he's holding someone accountable for an error detected in a system. His third voice line is, "No, a remark like that would be most inappropriate. You already know full well how to praise someone in such a way that you gain their recognition. So, do that." This is a rare show of emotion when dealing with colleagues who require more attention, like Sandrone and Arlecchino. He's essentially like an old professor trying to stimulate the potential of younger people. Now, let's move on to the age, personality, and trial voice lines of the Young Doctor, the version we met in Sumeru. This Dottore is his 20, 30-year-old self, and he's as arrogant and edgy as the original Dottore, even in this form. In terms of personality, he exudes confidence and superiority. He displays arrogance in his desire to control his test subjects, as everything around him is part of his experiment. Nothing escapes his control. He feels a sense of amazement when something exceeds his expectations because it allows him to observe the very limits of humanity. Now, on to his trial voice lines. The first one is, "This outcome is precisely as anticipated, a most satisfying result. After all these years, we can finally say it was worth the wait." He's speaking to Scaramouche here. His second voice line is, "The absurdity is mind-boggling. People are comforted when they hear that this is the will of the divine, yet the moment someone perceives their fate in the hands of another human being, they are up in arms." He's likely arguing with someone here. Finally, his third voice line is, "Over the years, I have grown accustomed to reaping only as much as I had accounted for in my plan. You should be proud of yourself, traveler. The value you've generated for me far surpasses that of all those stuck-up sages combined. Here, we've exceeded his expectations, so there's a tinge of awe in his voice. However, he still maintains his smooth, confident tone, and his emotions remain positive overall. That's all the information we have on Dottore for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates.